Exactly.
But yeah, but I woke up like 3 minutes before the Trevor Story news broke, and there was some well, for starters, I want to say that there was this one local reporter. I shouldn't say local because he's from Florida, but he's a Red Sox fan that he does a YouTube channel and everything that said this 2 days before. And like I went to bat for this kid, and I was so worried that he was going to end up signing somewhere else. But yeah, Trevor Story, 6 years, 140 million to the Red Sox. He's going to play second base at least for this season. There's a 7th-year option / a 4th-year opt-out, or 4th-year opt-out / 7th-year option. I think it's a hilarious contract. It's kind of funny because you just think of it as like, you know how when you get grounded and your parents, tell you your punishment and you talk back about the punishment and they're like, do you want to make it, 3 weeks? Like Trevor's Story after 4 years is just like, all right, peace out. And Chaim Bloom's like, actually, you're here for a 7th year. So
whoops, guess what? We got you for another year. Suck it.
Yeah, not only are you not out after 4, but you're not after 5, 6, and then you're out after 7. But I think it's a really nice signing. I'll let you kind of go off on your take first, and then I'll save mine for later.
I mean, my big one is thank God. Like, we have been talking ad nauseum in the group chat on our last Red Sox episode that we did about how Chaim Bloom needed to spend. He had the money to spend. He had the tools to spend because he wasn't dealing with what we think is a cheap owner. Like John Henry over the years has ponied up money to bring free agents to Boston, and we thought that he would still be able to give money towards a signing this year. And Chaim Bloom finally did it. He pulled the trigger, and he got Trevor Story. One of the top free agents on the market. Not necessarily the top. He didn't get Carlos Correa, but that's a hell of a consolation prize to be able to get Trevor Story. I mean, if he's going to be your shortstop for the next 5 years after this year, so be it. Like, that's amazing. I'm thrilled. That being said, there are a couple of things I don't necessarily like about it, specifically the fact that he is playing second base. I know we're going to get to it later, but just on the surface, the Red Sox spent big, as the Red Sox should, and they got a big free agent. And I commend them for that. That's absolutely what they should be doing because they're the freaking Boston Red Sox.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think if I had to grade the offseason before the Story signing, it would probably be low C because I mean they definitely like getting depth in the rotation and the bullpen is huge. Like I don't want to undersell that, but at the end of the day, their infield defense was the worst in in Major League Baseball last year. To roll back out this season with the same infield with Devers, Bogarts, Arroyo, and Dahlbeck. That is a huge slap in the face to a team that's defense cost them a lot. I mean, I know they technically improved their defense by not having to ever throw Schwarber at first again, but then your lineup takes a hit because he's one of the best hitters in your lineup. But I think improving that defense, even though Trevor Story, in my opinion, is wasted at second base, he is
Agreed.
a bona fide Gold Glove shortstop, and I know he's never won one, but he's in the conversation at least. Like it's not like he's not won one because he's never been of that status. He's a great defensive shortstop. I just think he's wasted at second base. I like the contract. I think the terms of it are fine. It sets them up at a position where they can still spend next offseason because it's only $20 million each of the first 2 years.
And you got those big names. Yeah, you got those big names coming off the books, as I think you said last episode, in Martinez and Price specifically, and then Bogarts if he opts out, which all signs indicate that he is. I mean, like you said, the term 7 years. I mean, personally, when it comes to some of these mega deals that baseball players sign, I think 12 years for anybody is a little bit too long. That's just my personal bias. I mean,
it's a big gamble.
You're asking a lot. A decade plus of a certain guy to maintain a certain level of production for a large amount of money. That's a lot to ask of them. So I like the fact that Chaim got Story for 6 to 7 years, depending on if he uses that opt-out or not. And again, as you said, the annual value. I mean, that was shocking to me. I expected Story to get between 28 and 32. I don't know if that was reasonable to expect that. That was kind of in my head, that was kind of the ballpark I thought that he was going to achieve. To get him for 20 in the first couple of years, as you said, and 23 on average, I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, I think I reported when we did our wish list back in, I think it was November, early December. I don't remember.
Something like that, yeah.
Specifically, but we did our wish list, and we both, Sean and I, talked about Trevor Story being on our wish list. Or I think Sean at least had him on his wish list. I don't know if I did. Remembering back, but I mentioned how there was somebody went on MLB Network Radio and mentioned how Trevor Story's market value is like 18 million over the next 3 years. I said that when we recorded. I don't think I ever truly believed it inside. So thankfully, I was right to not believe that. Yeah, he's definitely a north of $20 million a year player. He just really shot himself in the foot with a really bad first few months in 2021. I think the Rockies trading Nolan Arenado was a big slap in the face. Then also having to deal with the possibility of him being traded at any point throughout the first 4 months of the season. And then they get past the deadline. For some reason, Colorado didn't trade him. I guess because they actually really wanted to keep him, because they apparently offered him more money than Boston did. And he still came to Boston. But,
what does it say about the Rockies? Like, good
seriously.
God.
I mean, they got Chris Bryant.
I was going to say, and then they gave a wheelbarrow full of money to Chris Bryant for no reason at all.
Yeah.
It's just, I mean, the Rockies continue to just be so bad.
Yeah, I don't know what they're doing, but yeah, Trevor Story comes here. 23 million, I think, is the average annual value. I like I said, I really like the signing. I lost my train of thought for a second, but yeah.
No, we can transition.
No, I forgot.
There we go.
After
we found it.
After the deadline, he really took off. He was not quite the Trevor Story of 2018 to 2019. I know he had a shoulder issue for a bit that was lingering for a little bit towards the end of the season, but finished the season I think around a 120-ish WRC plus after the deadline. So I mean, it's right about where he's been the last few years. And then obviously the defense was still there. It's a great signing. I love it. Wish Bogarts was moving to second base, but I mean I understand.